Law and order, once the cornerstone of American justice, is now being warped into chaos and corruption. And today, Senator Patty Murray just revealed how deep that decay runs inside Trump's Justice Department.
Attorney General Bondi, we are in a deeply alarming moment where law and order is being replaced by chaos and corruption and really whatever Trump wants. And your department's independence and its capacity to do its job have eroded before our eyes. We have seen respected career officials who've been fired for doing their job. Thousands more are being pushed out with your buyouts and the threat of mass firings, and entire divisions are being eliminated, and grants have been canceled illegally. So I have questions about how and why those decisions are being made, and importantly, whether you're adequately resourcing DOJ to do its job. But before I turn to my questions, I do want to raise my alarm about the troubling pattern of trampling basic rights. Detainees, including U.S. citizens, being shipped overseas without any due process. Elected officials are detained for conducting oversight, and a U.S. senator gets tackled to the ground for asking questions at a press conference. This is not the country I know or the values I believe in, and I hope that colleagues on both sides of the aisle will agree with that. Now, to the questions. Yesterday, and I know that Senator Van Hollen raised this issue, a former DOJ attorney filed a protected whistleblower complaint accusing Deputy AG Emil Bove and senior DOJ leadership of defying court orders, including through, quote, lack of candor, deliberate delay, and disinformation, unquote. The complaint also accuses this administration of firing the whistleblower for, quote, telling the truth to the court. These allegations are deeply concerning. Now, I know you said that you can't discuss the case, but can you confirm that you agree that this administration should follow court orders?
We will follow court orders, Senator. The entire administration will follow court orders. The problem arises in the district courts. All these district courts throughout the country are tying our hands. And here's how we will follow them when we get to the United Supreme Court.
I need to ask
we're winning.
A number of questions.
And so, yes,
I know
we're following the orders of the court.
Let me ask my questions. Can you confirm you will not allow any conduct like what is alleged to continue at the DOJ?
I'm not going to talk about anything that's alleged. What I will talk about with you, hold on, you asked me a question and I get to answer it. What you asked me, alleged conduct that's part of a pending whistleblower lawsuit that was filed on the eve prior to Emil Bove's hearing today.
I'm not asking
highly
about that
suspicious. Hold on, let me keep going. I would run through a wall for Emil Bove and Todd Blanche.
Like to continue with my questions. I have very limited time. Thank you. I just want you to confirm for this you will not allow conduct like that at the DOJ. Yes or no?
I will always support and defend Emil Bove, and I will defend Todd Blanche. They are two of the finest people I know and two of the ethical
asking about the
people
conduct.
I know.
Let me keep going here. Now, in April, DOJ abruptly terminated over 300 public safety grants that had already gone through a very rigorous and fair and apolitical application process with no explanation. This is funding to investigate and prosecute drug trafficking, to support foster care kids who experienced abuse or neglect, to expand access to forensic exams to prosecute violent crimes like sexual assault. These really senseless cancellations have already forced public safety organizations to cut employees and services. So I want to ask you, when you cut off the community-based violence intervention and prevention initiative funding, were you aware it is used to prevent and reduce violent crime?
Yeah, Senator, you weren't here for that, so I'm going to have to repeat myself. We have cut grants. I think we've cut 6%. But if we have cut a grant that you feel should not be cut, please reach out to me. I will personally look at it. We've turned multiple grants back on. Okay. We have an appeal process. But if you want to come to me directly, I would be happy to sit down with you and look at that and help you.
I'm happy. I appreciate that.
Again, we're doing everything we can.
Okay, but let me just ask you, when you cut off the expanding access to sexual assault forensic examination grant, were you aware that that grant helps our authorities prosecute rape and sexual assault?
I have no idea about that specific grant you're talking about. That's why I said if you want to come sit down with me, I would never cut a grant
I appreciate
intentionally
that. It's
that
very
has
hard
anything
for those
to do.
recipients on the other end across the country.
Can you
to
give
get
me
a
the
phone
details of
interview.
that grant?
I can absolutely do that, and my staff will get that to you, but those are two critical ones that I just wanted to ask you about today.
Again, we've turned many grants back on and will continue to. If you want to call me and we can discuss them with you.
Okay, in your budget request, you propose consolidating the Office on Violence Against Women into the Office of Justice Programs. In 2002, Congress actually codified the office as a permanent, separate, and independent office to implement the Violence Against Women Act. We did that to make sure that violent crimes against women receive the necessary attention, expertise, and resources, and to give the office a strong, independent voice within the Justice Department and federal government. Now your department wants to fade that into the OJP, which violates the intent of the law that we passed. It makes grant programs less effective, and it places a lot more barriers for victims and services they need. And I see that you're cutting the office's resources by about a third. So will you commit to us, the Appropriations Committee, to follow the law and maintain OVW as a separate grant entity?
I will follow the law, but I will not keep that as a separate grant entity. You and I can disagree all day long on what the law is.
Well,
that's being consolidated into the Office of Justice Programs.
so
I'm not going to cut, let me answer, I'm not going to cut anything that's going to hurt violence against
Not
women.
my question.
It will eliminate
I'm asking, just for your information, Attorney General, in 2002, we codified the office as a permanent, separate, and independent office. So that you need to go back and take a look at that. I know my time is out, but I thank you very much for the time.
When Senator Patty Murray faced off against Attorney General Pam Bondi, it wasn't just a heated exchange, it was a moral reckoning. What unfolded was a U.S. senator standing toe-to-toe with an administration that has systematically dismantled the very foundations of justice in this country, and daring to call it out. Let's be clear about what actually happened. Senator Murray wasn't asking routine oversight questions. She was exposing the deep rot that has consumed Trump's Department of Justice, an institution meant to embody fairness, integrity, and independence, but which, under Pam Bondi's leadership, has been twisted into a political instrument built on loyalty and corruption. When Murray warned that law and order is being replaced by chaos and corruption, she wasn't exaggerating. She was naming a truth millions of Americans can feel but rarely see spoken aloud, that our justice system has been hijacked to serve one man's will, Donald Trump. The DOJ, once a pillar of independence, is now being re-engineered into a loyalty apparatus where obedience outweighs law and silence is rewarded over honesty. Look closely at Bondi's answers. When pressed on whether she would stop the conduct described in the whistleblower complaint, falsifying information, defying court orders, her response wasn't a clear yes. It was a deflection, a defense of the accused instead of a defense of justice. This is the same Pam Bondi who, as Florida's Attorney General, accepted donations from Trump's foundation before declining to pursue fraud charges against Trump University, and who later became one of Trump's fiercest loyalists. That loyalty has a price, and this moment made it unmistakably clear. Senator Murray was demanding accountability for the abrupt termination of public safety grants, programs that protect women from sexual assault, children from abuse, and communities from violent crime. These aren't political arguments, they're lifelines. Yet Bondi brushed them aside, framing the cuts as budget adjustments and even admitting she had no idea about grants helping rape survivors seek justice. That single admission says everything about the state of this DOJ. When the nation's top law enforcement officer doesn't grasp the significance of protecting women from violence, it's no longer about politics, it's about morality. And the larger picture is even darker. Bondi's attempt to fold the Office on Violence Against Women into a larger bureaucracy, in direct violation of federal law, isn't just a reorganization, it's an attempt to erase independence and silence those who fight for victims over power. It's yet another example of how the Trump administration has methodically dismantled safeguards designed to defend the vulnerable, replacing compassion with control. What Murray did wasn't just question a corrupt attorney general, she demonstrated what accountability in a democracy looks like. Her tone was steady, her words charged with moral urgency. She wasn't speaking for Democrats or progressives alone. She was speaking for every American who believes no one, not even the president's allies, stands above the law. This hearing wasn't political theater. It was a test of whether we still live in a nation where the Department of Justice serves justice or whether it now serves power. If this exchange proved anything, it's that silence is complicity. When we watch justice erode before our eyes and say nothing, that's when democracy truly begins to die. So the next time the Trump camp invokes law and order, remember what Senator Murray exposed. It's not about law, and it's not about order. It's about obedience. And the only way to confront that is to keep shining light, keep asking hard questions, and keep fighting for institutions that put people, not politics, first. If you believe in truth, accountability, and integrity and justice, stay loud, stay informed, and make your voice count at the ballot box. Because democracy doesn't collapse in a single night. It fades when good people stop paying attention.